Welcome back, guys, to the Latte Home Shopping KeSPA Cup 2015 Season 2.
Well said, Valdez. It's good to be back. As we get into Game 3 of Flash versus Curious. Going to be on Coda LE this time.
I think this gives a really good chance to Flash to just finish this one, you know.
Yeah.
Terran's been looking really strong on this map, Zerg not so much, and Curious already in a bad place here. Taking 2 rough losses here against Flash. Flash actually playing decently well. Well, guys, let's jump into the game right now. It's going to be Game 3 on Coda. Curious versus Flash.
스베누 큐리어스 이원표 vs KT 롤스터 플래시 이영호.
Down here in the bottom right in the purple, Zerg player, it is Curious.
And up here in the top left, Flash looking to close things out. Not a bad map to do it on. 2-0 so far.
Yeah. You know, one of our viewpoints here is that Curious, he's been doing quite well in recent times, at least in individual leagues, made it quite far. GSL, all sorts of stuff. He defeated SOS to make it in here, but, you know, we were looking at some of those results from recent times, and he wasn't able to make it into SSL Season 3 because he went down to 2 Terrans that I would even say are weaker than Flash at this point.
Yeah.
So, you know, Curious looking decently strong, but so far, just based on those results and this series alone, not the strongest ZVT, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely not. Let's see what he can do this time. You know, Flash has really thought out these strategies as well, though. He's come into this very prepared.
Yeah.
Which is good to see as well, because we don't... a lot of the time we see Flash kind of just play the standard sort of macro game, and they're expecting it, so they kind of just deal with him. Kind of like we see Innovation lose a lot of his games as well. But this time he has really thought it out. He knows that Curious is a pretty powerful macro Zerg more than anything else. So go for that little bit more of aggression. You see that Proxy Reaper in Game 1 and Game 2. 2-base sort of opening, applying a lot of pressure with the bio, hell bad timing.
Yeah. You're very right about Flash. He's definitely, you know, very prepared for this series, whereas Curious not so much, it seems, playing very standard Curious style. Which, at the same time, Flash is kind of forced. You know, Flash is really forcing Curious to play his game, and that's part of the reason why Flash is winning this one so far.
Yeah, look at that. Even as much confidence as to go for that CC on the low ground this time.
CC on the low ground, whereas Curious goes for a pool first.
Yeah, so it's really in his head at this point. Flash has been doing too much.
I like it, though. You know, at a certain point, you do have to play against the player and how he's playing in a certain day. But like you said, it is going to put Curious behind here in the beginning of the game, at least. See if Curious wants to mix it up here at all. Maybe he'll put on the aggression. He's not really one to do it, but at some point when you're down 0-2 in a best of 5, it's like, well, you know, do I just continue playing the same style and not doing so well against this player? Because it hasn't been working out for me so far.
Yeah. We do actually used to see Curious be one of those aggressive players, especially in the GSL. You know, a couple of years back, he'd always be this player that would love his like Roach Bane timings. He'd always have a great sort of timing figured out for the match of the day, and he'd do it, and he'd have a lot of success, which is why he was in Code S for so long. But you know, this year we've really seen him just be more of a macro player than anything else. So he's kind of changed up his style a little bit, which a lot of Zergs have. Life, for instance, you know, he's much more macro oriented than he used to be.
Yeah.
Since joining that KeSPA team. I don't think really Spanu has that same sort of view on things, but maybe Curious just in his older age is adopting a more of a mechanical style. Which doesn't really make sense either. Because you need to be young and fit for a mechanical style.
You need that multitasking, you need to be all over the place.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like when you're Nest's age, you just simply go for all-ins all the time. Yeah. Which is what we saw him do a lot.
I don't want to play that 30-minute game.
No, my hands can't take it.
Yeah. Curious isn't that old, though, is he? I mean, Nesty at this point, he's like 32.
Yeah, Nesty's certainly super old at this point. And
he's the grandpa.
He's the grandpa. He's gone. Actually, no idea where Nesty went. He just vanished.
I don't know, man. Him and MVP hanging out.
Yeah, I guess they they had a lot of success and they're happy with that. Maybe they don't need to prove anything anymore.
I suppose.
Nesty's a
kind of
married
sad
man.
though at the same time.
Yeah, it's cool to see like Nesty as a coach or something these days.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back. He was a very smart player in his prime.
Maybe not, social enough to be a coach or something. I don't know. Kind of
maybe I don't really know.
He's like one of those quiet, brooding pro gamer guys. Just like very nice, but
yeah. What about MVP then?
I think he had a lot of wrist problems more than anything else. So he's like, well, I just can't do this anymore. It's like this is just ruining my wrist and stuff.
Maybe he just feels really bad about it, so he doesn't really want to stay in the scene of StarCraft. He just has bad memories about it.
Well, I wouldn't think it would be bad memories sort of thing. It's just like,
I mean, he was so successful, but it kind of got stunted towards the end,
Yeah. I'm sure one day we'll see him again.
Kind of a sad place. You never want to be forced out of doing what you love just because of injuries.
No.
You see that in any sport, really.
It's a scary thing about Mario, man. He's had those wrist problems as well. Like,
oh, yeah, man.
That'd be horrible if we had to see him go like the best Terran in the world.
Please
giving it up.
Man. That guy is playing so well these days. I was watching the Pro League Finals, you and Wolf were casting that, and that was just, man, he was playing so well. He did get sniped towards the end by Dark, but...
Yeah. That was always going to be like the one thing that got him as well, like a Zerg player. He's so good at TVT and TVP, but TVZ is definitely his weakest matchup.
Yeah.
Scout coming in here, trying to figure out exactly what Flash is going for. It's going to get a good idea, actually. Everything he needed to see was seen.
Yeah. He's seen enough factories, and I think he did see that third base, too.
Now, I really hope we do see a much more aggressive sort of economic approach to this. Throw down a fourth base a lot earlier than you would. Take map control. It's either that, or it's quick mutas into quick roaches and try and kill him early. And don't go to that mid to late game against mech. Because it does get so ugly in the late game these days.
I think the quick mutas definitely are part of this build. Off this 2-base here, getting a later third base, a lot of gas being mined. Spire about to finish. But there's already 2 Thors coming out here for Flash.
Yeah, 2 Thors is the right choice. Unless it's going to be roaches to start things off. If you're going to start with a lot of roaches and you just go for a roach with speed timing, you can just kill him right then and there. If it's going to be, Thor invested. But it's going to be mutas to start things off, and Flash has made the right choice. Yep. Ooh, but look at this link. What?
That's not supposed to happen.
Never, ever. Doesn't see what's coming out of these factories, though, which is something he'd really love to see. 7 mutas on the way. 2 Thors already out.
This is going to at least force Flash back into his base, try to defend a bit, and allow Curious to really get his economy going, like you were saying. Try to take a lot of those bases and just get ahead of the meching player.
Yeah, following up with 2 tanks as well. So he's covering both bases here. Muta's going to fly right into the Thors. Ooh, almost losing one Muta. Almost in the red. 9 health.
Very close.
Yeah, Flash, already has these turrets up and running as well. He's had them for a while. He's been expecting this. So Curious is going to, I guess, take map control for the moment, get an idea of the composition. But besides that, he's not going to find anything. Beautiful creep spread as well, mind you.
Yeah. Wow, getting an infestation pit already.
Good.
Going very, very fast with this. This is kind of the one game, I think, where Curious is going to be the most comfortable, where he's like, I've identified everything that's going on. I have a very good idea of what you're doing. Now let me just, follow the build order from there and just try to get ahead of you in terms of, he's already getting a bunch of upgrades out here. He's getting a ton of tech. Already even going for a fourth base down there in the bottom left.
I'm still kind of afraid that he got that fourth base too late. He is teching a little too late. Like, everything was figured out just a little too late. Obviously, he found everything out with the Overseer. But, Flash is on equal bases. He's got a bigger army. He's making a more efficient army. And he could go for the March pretty soon as well.
Yeah, he could. But very nice gas snipes here from Curious. He gets the 1 in the main. And now might even get the 1 here at the third. No, a repair's going to come down this time. Flash paying attention, but, at least stunting the gas mining here of the meching player, very important.
Yeah. I think we're going to see that Roach Hydra Viper composition come out, try and deal with things earlier on. Muta's taking a lot of damage. Trying for that gas, and gas kills are always good against a meching player. Slow down what they can make, slow down the tank production and the Thor production.
Interesting for Flash. He's adding in a bunch of Marauders into this mix as well. He even has Stim and +2 to infantry.
Yeah, you know what?
Weapons.
I really like this kind of mech bio composition that we do see occasionally. I think we've seen, was it Fantasy that likes this style? Or it was another Terran player that I'm thinking of. The name
escapes me as well, Moonblade. I can't really remember.
Is he like a Samsung player, perhaps? I don't know. I know the player, but I just forget the name.
Yeah.
But,
nice free Thor there, but Flash doesn't seem to care.
No, it's time. And he's going to need some Bailing for this, or some beautiful Blinding Clouds to help out deal with this kind of army. Roach is going to try and trigger the siege and buy some more time. Just a little bit.
He's doing a good job of that, in fact, sniping a lot of these Hellbats before the fight even starts.
Yeah, just buying time as well. And that Hellbat count got pretty low. Still waiting for these Vipers to get enough energy so he can engage with some Blinding Clouds. Let's see if he has enough here. Supplies are in favor of Furious right now, but he needs these Blinding Clouds.
Here they come, big Blinding Clouds on the tanks in the back, and a ton of Roach Hydra to do a bunch of DPS here. So many Blinding Clouds coming down.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful, and he should be able to wipe out the rest of these tanks. It's closer. The bio actually really helping out. I'm sure that was the last thing he was expecting.
Yeah, this is a very strange composition from Flash.
A lot of Roaches coming out as well. Not many tanks either, so Flash actually has to be careful not to overcommit. It's all about finding the right position for Furious there.
Nice scans coming down here, really clearing up that creep, and this small bio ball is going to force the entire army of Furious back to this third base to defend, and it's going to allow Flash to reposition these tanks.
Yeah, decent tank spread as well. Roach's are in position to kind of deal with this bio for the moment, but Furious surprisingly going for a counterattack here. He's going to just try and hold on at his natural. Deal with the third base.
He's really been loving to do this in this entire series. There is one tank back here and a bunch of bio, but
it's not enough. And he's going to give up his third base for this. Wrong decision, in my opinion. He should have tried to destruct his army while it was, I guess, stunted. He did go to a lot of the tanks. There's only a bit of bio buffering for them. So if he went for a decent-sized sandwich, maybe could have cleaned it up.
Well, he's going to try not to losing his third base. Coming from two sides, he's going to be able to clean up the tanks in the front. There is more in the back here from Flash. A lot of bio in the front, really the tank here for these tanks.
Yeah,
they're all surviving.
Nice cleanup here. A couple of tanks left over, but that army certainly isn't going to do much anymore. But the damage has already been done. That third base is gone. Flash still on 3 bases, didn't take any economic damage from the counterattack.
And it seems like he's almost fully switched into bio here. No more mech production at all, just Marauders and Marines.
They are +2 bio as well, so they can certainly go toe-to-toe with Roach Hydra.
Yeah.
Upgrades play a big part when using bio against them.
It seems like the idea was to just only go for attack upgrades for both the mech and the bio.
Yeah, we have seen this style before. I do like it.
It's definitely unique.
Yeah, if it goes undetected too, it can really catch them out. Roach Hydra can still do work against it, especially if you got Blinding Clouds, maybe some Fungals as well. It's not the end of the world, but Furious just caught a little too early.
At least forcing the army of Flash back there. But as you said, lost that third base, trying to remake that desperately here. And a lot of his Roaches being caught out here in the middle of the map. He's going to try to take a fight now with some reinforcements, but he's going to take a bad one. Now he's just going to try to run away. A bunch of tanks on the high ground, even a shell on these units that are fleeing.
Yeah, there is one. Viper has enough for one Blinding Cloud, so he's going to make it count. Decent Hydra.
Oh, man. Look at this position.
Yeah, the fourth base is going to be sacked as well. Third base only just finished.
And the tanks are there to protect the bio that will be going into that fourth base and taking it down.
Another counterattack. I don't agree with this at all, but he doesn't really have any other option at this point either.
Nothing to tank here for all the Hydras in the back being shelled. Although, he does take out some of that bio. He's still got a decent army in the middle of the map and some tanks in the back here desperately trying to run away. Nice pickup.
Look at that. Just enough for now. Those bio really fought without those tanks, which is a pretty big mistake. And 3 tanks at the bottom are going to get sacked, but it did kill the 4th base. Oh.
He's even going to save 2 of those tanks.
Still Hydra's coming around from the side there.
Uh-oh.
Got to get into that airspace,
Oh,
and he should be fine.
Just barely going to survive. And again with that attack, even though Flash is down on supply, he still has his 3rd base up. He's even in bases with the Zerg.
+3 about to finish up for the Zerg as well. Another Viper on the way. And a decent supply lead for Curious. So Flash has got to be kind of careful. You can't afford to lose his army he can, and can't afford to be throwing away units. He's got to make sure he's in position and got to make sure he has a decent tank spread so he doesn't deal with any blinding clouds.
It was almost like he got too ahead of himself and lost a bunch in the middle of the map as he was taking out that 4th base, but now just going to sit back and remake his army.
Yeah, and no armor upgrades for this bio as well, mind you, which plays a big part. Hydra's going to obviously be a lot more effective against them, and that's why we have been seeing them go down. So Hydra's can actually go toe-to-toe with these Marine Marauder right now.
Yeah, in fact, in all those fights prior, the combat shields wasn't even an upgrade. He was spending all that gas elsewhere.
I think he just really forgot about that. So another little mistake there. But decent position once again for Flash. He has to get rid of this creep there. It will help out a lot. Nice tank spread as well.
And Curious, he's just going to go for another counterattack. He's going to get 2 of these tanks. Go straight into that 3rd base. But Flash, he's ready to accept the challenge. Coming back with half of his army, leaving the other half to go take out that 3rd base.
Yeah, he's going to make sure he engages this very carefully as well. And look at this fire just melt from no armor upgrades.
Really nice blinding clouds as well.
Yeah, look at that.
23 SCVs do go down at this 3rd base. But at the end of the day, it looks like the rest of this Zerg army will be cleaned up. And he saves the orbital.
Saves the orbital. Yeah, 23 SCVs, pretty big hit, but considering the economies at this point, Curious doesn't really have one.
He's got 1 base.
2 mineral patches mining at this point. He's got the bottom left finished, but
yeah,
he hasn't saturated it just yet.
That's his only hope, and who knows how long he's even going to be able to hold that for. Flash is already moving out, and it looks like he has identified that base is up. He's going to the bottom left.
Sizable force with this.
Yep. As long as he shuts down that last mining base, I think that's going to be lights out here for Curious.
I would have loved to see Flash add a few more Vikings with this composition as well, because it really is, it all comes down to those blinding clouds. If he doesn't get them, then he just dies. Look at this, nice counterattack at the same time this is happening.
But there you go, last mining base of Curious will go down. So many of those drones as well. Counterattack does get cleaned up. There's just nothing left here for Curious. Flash scans that, he's like, oh, you don't even have a 3rd base.
Yeah, he's expecting something to be up, but he realizes there's actually nothing left. Curious is just waiting for, like, the attack, I guess. Waiting for him to die at this point, because there's nothing really left going for him. He's going to try a long-distance mine from that 3rd base, but that ain't going to be enough to really
Flash
get him
right
back
now
in.
is sitting back, regrouping his army, floating over this orbital to take another mining base. And I think he's just going to attack here in like a minute or so.
Yeah, whenever he's kind of secured everything at this point. We are seeing him move across the map with what's left of Curious's army. Maybe one last desperate attack. This does have some blinding clouds, but even if he gets them, I don't think it'll ever be enough.
2 roaches, not going to do much there. Flash in position to take that down.
Well, here we go. Ooh, he's looking to pick the 3rd. Flash going to take this very safely, it looks like.
Loving the sensor tower, by the way.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge for defending against Curious's counterattacks here.
Flash should probably invest in more armor upgrades as well, or, you know, get the +3 for either way. He does have the gas for it, just about investing. Help him secure it. We do see Flash move across the map, perhaps one last time.
Gonna fight here with like half of his army, but I don't think it's really gonna matter here. There's so much bio out here. He's got a huge advantage in army. And the third base once again does get canceled here for Curious.
Whoa, nearly only Hydra left, which is going to be great for Bio to clean up. And this should be it.
It's going to be it. GG. Flash gets a 3-0 here against Curious, who's able to advance over SOS to make it here, but Flash will move on to the round of 8.
Yeah, looking great today. Really well thought out build orders. It's good to see Flash have some success. Very interesting player for everyone to watch.
Yeah.
Big name.
He's got a lot of fans, and I'm sure they're all going to be very, very happy with that win. Looking pretty happy with that win as well. Talking with his coach, Curious. Unfortunately, a very tough day for him today. Going up against a very prepared Terran. He himself just kind of playing very standard. What do you think really went wrong in that whole series for Curious?
He just made the wrong choices, and he was very unprepared, especially game 1 and game 2, like getting caught out from the aggression. Game 3, I think he scattered the mech too late, and he just made the wrong choices. Mutas, he started with Mutas, and he literally did nothing. From there, it was just like Flash, equal in economy the entire game long at least, and just making the army that he could